The views expressed in this presentation are those of the hosts and guests and do not represent the views of any lodge, Grand Lodge, appended body, or any other person or persons whomsoever.
Brethren, we are at Refreshment.
I'm a cool guy, right? You know, we're cool. He's like, yeah. He's all weird.
I see just a bunch of old guys eating hashed over crock pot food. And
well, you're just not high enough up in the conspiracy.
Oh, yeah.
And the potentate is right where you are. And what does he do? He just starts laughing his ass off. Welcome to the At Refreshment Masonic Video Podcast. I'm your host, Wesley Reuter, and I have some other guys with me. Let's introduce them. We got...
Brock from Raven 303. Confirmed.
Yoshi, Villa Park Lodge, number 1113.
Welcome to the At Refreshment Masonic Video Podcast, your home for libations and Masonic mischief. I'm your host, Wesley Reuter. No, I'm Marty, and I know he's so pissed right now.
No, I'm not. I just don't understand your comedy sometimes. So
I've known him almost 20 years.
And you still don't understand him.
It's most of it just...
You see what you're getting into? You're going to marry us, and we don't understand him.
Don't tell her marrying me is an option. Honestly, most of my humor is just a bunch of buzzes and clicks to kind of put my mind at ease from all the screaming from the voices from beyond.
Have you seen your shaman at work lately?
Oh, God.
I have spent some time with my shaman. He says I brought an actual very good balance of energy to his life as well.
Good.
And,
Cool. Yin yang there.
Yeah, so we walk together a lot down Jackson to where we each pick up our respective public transportation, and he's actually been teaching me Hebrew, so it's been getting dope. It's been cool, man.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
It's even a little deeper than we thought. It's happening.
Yeah.
And if you haven't figured it out, the Trout Club is back at Manny's Ale House for these tapings. So,
and hopefully for the duration of this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we did schedule a lot.
Yeah, our whole vagabond schedule of like we're going to record here and record. It felt weird. It felt like
it definitely didn't feel like home.
It felt like we were like cheating.
Yeah.
It felt good, but you don't love that woman. Why's she in your car?
Oh, terrible.
Well, we went to a couple places, maybe some haunted, some not. So, but we do have a guest for us this episode.
All right, another guest.
Yes, and his name is Brother Justice, but some of you may know him as J-Merk. So, we're going to have him come in right now. Brother Justice, J-Merk, come on in.
Welcome, brother. Welcome.
Welcome, brother.
Thank you, brothers.
Woo! How are you?
What's going on, brothers?
What's up, big homie?
Hey. So, J-Merk,
Yes.
what kind of music do you do? Not that we don't already know.
Death polka. It's a new thing. It's a new thing we're working on.
Actually, that's a thing.
Yeah, really?
No, Death Polka's huge. Yeah, there's a bunch of bands on the south side that do
Oh,
it
you're
on the old
kidding.
Polish bars.
No, I was kidding. I was joking.
Oh, okay. I thought you were serious. I thought you were serious, man.
Death Polka and Death Mariachi is actually a pretty big scene in Chicago.
Yeah.
Really?
Actually,
Yeah.
there's death metal Christian music, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Underoath started like that.
And then As I Lay Dying kind of started, and then
Didn't that dude go crazy and kill some people or something?
Yeah,
Almost.
I heard something like that.
almost
Maybe.
when Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
Yo, the Cripple Crossface, one of the greatest wrestling moves of all time. I'm sure you could attest for that.
Chris Benoit is really someone we should focus a lot of our time and energy on this show.
Oh, man.
I mean, honestly,
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. Chris Benoit, and he was the best family man since Cosby. We all saw how that turned out.
Oh, yeah. Father of the Year.
Steroids don't destroy your brain.
Oh, man.
So what lodge are you from?
Barrington 522 in Barrington, Illinois.
Oh God, you're in that lodge with Mark?
Oh, you know Victoria?
He actually got me in.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mark Victoria. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm surprised they just didn't drop that black ball right there. Saw Mark Victoria on the top.
We love you, Mark.
Yeah, I'm also a member of the Scottish Rite Valley of Chicago,
Awesome.
which that's where I met you brothers, and then also Geneva York Rite chapter and council as well.
Okay.
Sweet.
Cool. Nice.
Very
Nice.
cool.
Well balanced. You're in all the big bodies. It's cool, man.
Yeah,
and actually,
making it
Barrington
happen.
Lodge. Have you been to Barrington Lodge?
I have not.
It's beautiful. They got a humidor. It's
What?
Barrington Lodge is cool.
That's what I've heard.
That's what I'm
Shout
talking
out,
about.
brother Luciano, man.
Yeah,
he
it sounds
definitely
like it's
blessed
happening.
because our lodge went through a merger where we got Lake Zurich, and he came from there, and that was the first thing that he said at the stadium meeting, getting a humidor. I'm like, oh. That passed like unanimously. Like,
Oh, I know.
Yeah, you couldn't.
I don't think there was anyone who was like,
Yeah.
no, we don't need no humidor.
No, but I mean that's a good lodge. I know Ozzy, Mark. You have when you think of up and coming lodges with energy that are doing it, Barrington is 110%.
Hey,
on that
like
list.
we've always talked about the lodge culture, man, and like definitely culture is something that's huge for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys have it there in spades. I didn't even know you were with Barrington. That's super cool that you are. So
Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of passionate brethren in that lodge, and we have very active past masters who kind of, bring the up and coming Masons in and kind of show them the ropes. We have intender nights that are pretty big turnouts. Our stated meetings have huge turnouts, which is really strange.
Well, hey, if you
People
guys are doing something,
No,
right,
it's
yeah.
good. It's a good thing. But
People
at
wanna
other
be
lodges,
there.
the meeting isn't really like the main reason why they come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Degrees and fellowship, but I actually like going to our meetings. Is that weird?
No, that's great. Yeah. That is awesome.
it's actually kind of a sad state of affairs that you had to ask if that was weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we've talked about it, a few times here and there on the show, about like if it's boring at the lodge, no one wants to hear the
Right.
minutes. But no, I mean, I look forward to going to lodge.
Well, sometimes, dude, it's hard, man, when your lodge is, kicking ass like
Yeah.
that, and you come on and be like, well, I don't know what your guys' lodge are doing. You guys got 10 minutes. We got a humidor. We got so many people. We got food. It's
Marshall
kinda hard
rides
to be
around
like,
the room on
hey.
a unicycle, handing out cheese sandwiches. It's dope.
And we do pony rides on Sunday.
Yeah.
Haircuts in the back.
Yeah, dude, full service, man.
Well, the thing is, we have so much business to discuss at our lodge. It's pretty crazy. So many committees and things like that. And lately, we've been trying to incorporate Masonic Education, which is the whole reason why I joined the crowd. It wasn't because, to advance my personal business, or it wasn't to, nefarious reasons. Or, I joined for Masonic Education. And, now we're starting to have some of that. And I got to do a little presentation not too long ago. And it was a great turnout, and brothers really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed doing it. So
And you crafted that from the ground up and how you wanted to present and what you wanted to say?
it took a few years. Yeah, it took a few years.
What was it about?
Well, it was about the Regis manuscript or the Hollowell poem. Which is
Oh,
the
yeah, which
original
was
document
From the
of Freemason.
1300. It kind of reads like a giant charge if you really pay attention.
Right, it's
to it.
this old Middle English prose.
Yeah.
And so I talked a little bit about it, and I also played like a video clip because I realized to have membership retention. I talked to Brother Eric Solomon of this, our AEO, and we had a very interesting conversation recently about where Freemasonry is heading in Illinois, where they would like to go with it, and basically we have to come up with a way to sell something to brothers that they already purchased a long time ago. So one of the
That's
things,
a cool way to put that.
one of the things I realized is that not everyone learns the same.
No.
There's visual learners, auditory, tactile learners. So we really have to assess the needs of what brethren really want out of this. And I feel that we need to have a comprehensive education program where we get the basics out of the way first. So we teach brethren about technology, how to use it, social media, how to use the apps on your smartphone, how to check the web, and how to check email and things like that. So we have to teach them that first. And then once we get past that step, then we say, okay, now follow this and check out this website, this podcast, this. So we have to present it to them in a way where it's tangible and they could access it. Because right now they're trying to get over the hump of learning Facebook and things like that. So
Absolutely.
That's pretty neat.
Dude, you think that's appalling? We have 2 members that we were talking about paying our dues online now. 2 members. I don't even have a computer. I'll be dead before I get a computer. And I thought, whoa, you don't have a computer?
I'd be like, yes, you will, sir. Yes, you will be dead before you get that computer. But
I don't feel bad saying it because I know he's not going to watch it. It's on YouTube. I'm
gonna mail that dude a VHS copy just to spite you. That's awesome. No, but it's
Brock.
it's cool that your lodge is taking initiative with how we handle masonry online, because the powers that be in masonry always say, like, masonry always feels like 10 or 15 years behind, like, the world.
Absolutely.
Like, Like sometimes it's like, oh, you guys have cherry Coke now? That's kind of sometimes how it feels.
Well, that's what happens when you control the world. You just get behind everything.
Well, a little bit. But no, there's been so many of us that came up and we like the internet and we like expressing and connecting that way.
I'm fine. I got it.
Okay, that's whatever. That threw me off so bad. But they never set down a guideline on how to do it. There's decorum for lodge, but no one ever said what's online Masonic decorum. So it became this kind of Wild West. And we all know, like, there's Facebook groups that are awesome, they're inspiring. And then I'm in a couple online Masonic Facebook groups, really just for the lulz at this point.
Dude, seriously, there are so many Facebook groups that I belong to for Freemasons, and it's, oh my God, it's hilarious, dude. Some of these guys, brothers, and I use it loosely. It's like, we're supposed to.
You didn't see any dues cards.
Yeah, I didn't see no dues cards, but it's it's ridiculous. It is.
My favorite
It's
one
ridiculous.
is the clandestine
Exposing.
Yes,
That's
yes,
my
that
favorite.
one. Oh
I
my
love
God.
that one.
Oh my God, that is
Dude.
that's like a lodge meeting in an episode of Maury had a weird baby.
Yes.
Clandy. It's just funny.
And they're just fighting out there. And I
Yeah.
love the dudes who come in from there's a couple clandestine bodies where I'm like, okay, well, at least you're kind of staying in line with what we do. Like, you're not doing it right, but I see what you're doing. Then someone will come in, I'm part of the Grand Egyptian Moorish Rite of the original Scots of the Isle. And pretty much like, we're the real Freemasons. There's 25 of us. We meet at my buddy Donnie's house and F everyone in this group. And I'm like, oh, this is great. I love the internet. This is why they made it.
Dude, yeah, some of them on there are like, whoa.
Well, dude, they really love those bodies, man.
Yeah.
Clandies love the grandiose names of their lodges.
Yeah. Oh, I
know.
The most worshipful Grand Lodge of
Very-
super excellent, wherever we want to be.
Illustrious,
It
raised,
just got these,
they're just like, it just goes on.
these glorious
and on.
names for like 10 people that show up
But-
Yeah.
but brethren-
and know they exist.
What brethren don't understand is that these organizations, they're real.
Yeah.
And,
Oh,
and-
no,
and to
yeah,
the
it's-
members,
And they're
Yeah.
robbing our members.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And to the
Good
members,
Masons are being stolen.
Hey, if you think you're in a clandestine Mason body, all you have to do is apply for the Illinois.
Check the Amity app.
Yeah.
All you have to do is apply for the Illinois license plate, and you'll find out real quick if you're part of the clandestine lodge or not.
Yeah.
Well, no, real talk while we're touching on this. If someone is watching this and you feel the body you're in isn't regular and you don't know how to check that, what's that one society? I can't pronounce it with the P.
Philalethes?
Yeah, Philalethes, they publish a really good list. And never hesitate to reach out to the Grand Lodge in your state that's actually real. You'll figure it out by the website very quickly. They won't claim they're part of any Egyptian god roots, and they don't meet in the back of a pizza parlor.
also the Phylaxis Society as well.
There's lodges that meet in the back of a pizza parlor.
Clandestine ones.
Probably.
Yeah, why not?
Let's join one of those.
We got pizza.
I know, not too bad. But that's cool with all the work you're doing. So,
Yeah.
It's a lot of work and it's never ending. I mean, I feel like this has been going on for so long, and I think brethren are starting to now see that there is a change. I feel like there is a small divide between brethren who want the education, want the more philosophical, the more esoteric, philosophical things, and I feel that the other brethren that are from the older way, it's more of a social club. My grandfather was in, my cousin was in, the mailman was in, so that was how they were brought up.
I'm always down with the mailman. If mailman's in, I'm in.
And there's nothing wrong
got
with
a
that.
mailman
And there's
in our
nothing
lodge.
wrong with that. It's just that there is more. There is more to
Illuminati
it.
confirmed.
There is more to it. I mean,
No, you're speaking the truth, man.
absolutely.
Everybody gets into it for a different reason.
right.
That's just how it is. And we should not look down, on how somebody came in, and we shouldn't judge. I mean, again, like we've said this before, you don't judge the exterior, judge the interior.
Right.
It doesn't matter how you got here. It's what are you willing to do for the craft. Are you here to learn? Are you here to become part of what we are?
Yeah.
So when it comes to learning and education, what would you like to see? What are you into that you think the brethren would just absorb?
just awareness, because you can't have a brand, a product, whatever, without brand awareness, visibility. We have a very bad visibility problem, and it's changing. They updated the website, and have talks with Brother Spooner about it, and the Grand Lodge of Illinois is taking steps to become very progressive and one of the premier states in the country with Freemasonry, and that's the kind of goal and the aim they have for it. You will see Grand Lodge roll out some new ideas and new materials that they're working on, like lodge etiquette, things like that. I think that's very important. I also want to see brethren talk about these appendant bodies, the history of them, just getting the awareness out there, because Blue Lodge is fantastic, but man, the conversations I've had with brothers at Scottish Rite, brothers at York Rite, it's just like mind melting and just amazing conversation, great dialogue. Like for instance, I forgot last time at Scottish Rite, I think when the basketball player,
that was
Dominic Wilkins.
Dominic Wilkins came and for the cigar and whiskey night.
Yep, absolutely.
And I was sitting with the Grand Master and a bunch of other brethren, Kevin Wheeler.
Yep.
And we were just talking about like esoterics and divination and the I Ching manual and just crazy stuff. And like these brothers, they have that rapport, and you could build with them, you could talk with them, you could have the dialogue, and that's very rare, especially in today's society, let alone in our organization, which is comprised of mainly older brethren who had a more of a social affinity to Freemasonry.
Yeah,
and it's awesome to have that dialogue about like crazy philosophical ideas with brethren at the Scottish Rite and New York Rite.
See, what I've experienced though, when you touched on something at the beginning of this, where you had to find out how people want to learn and what mediums they respond to, I have noticed, and this is as what I feel that I am part of the younger part of Masonry right now, I'm part of the rejuvenation and all that. There's been a couple of times where we've gotten a little bit heavy-handed on how we want to bring things in or do things, and it's scared some older members.
Yeah.
And we could all say, if it's too loud, you're too old, pops, however we want to look at it. But more or less like, this is the future and this is what we want. But you also kind of have to take a little bit of time to understand where those dudes came from. And then when you get to that point, you'll actually realize when they were our age and they got in, they were more open to these ideas. And we kind of got it twisted back to that. Now, but they're going to be on some whole other, tinfoil hat stuff that we currently are on.
Right.
But they're there too. You just have to find a way to bridge that.
Yeah.
And this is a great start, what you guys are doing, because I saw a video you guys did where you guys were talking about like some pretty heavy stuff. And it's like, the dialogue.
Wait, what?
Yeah, like it got.
We're the most.
We talk about heavy stuff when we're off the show. That's what the
there's like these side tangents and things.
We do get into some good.
Yeah,
we do. We really do.
We do when the cameras are off.
No, when we're busting our chops right now.
Because we're not that serious show. I don't know.
Our show with Carl. There
are some times, dude, that we do for a brief moment. We do get serious. And it's a good thing.
And there's changes, like you said, Brother Carl. That event he had at the shrine where he brought the Nephilim skulls.
Yeah,
like that was cool.
Yeah.
And the tarot card event.
Yeah,
I couldn't make it to that.
I guess that was educational.
Oh, the tarot card event where I was the keynote speaker.
I had work obligations. I was in the office long hours, and I couldn't make it.
I understand. It's okay. It's not a big deal. I'm not hurt.
I wanted to go. So next
the event was cool.
If you have another one, I'd like to go, but. There's things changing. There's things happening. Masonic Con, with Brother Archie.
Oh, Masonic Con. That's a great idea.
Yeah, we're trying to get a table there.
We emailed them. We owe them a check. That's what we owe them. But then Christmas.
I'm going all day Saturday.
And then I developed, some addiction.
All that hard work.
But no, we will be everywhere. And actually, we were just invited to California Esotericon by our friends from Keepers of the Word.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
And they promised us.
Okay. I just don't think our show. Not that us as individuals aren't interested in that. I just think us as a show.
I think they want us to host an after party. I think that's what they really want.
I want to go.
I mean, seriously, some guy's going to come with something we're going to be drinking.
I'm trying to meet Brian Butler, man.
Dude, I think we're supposed to host Mike from Keepers of the Word. I think we're supposed to host an after party, and he said he's going to put us up in a cabin that's just like the movie Meatballs. I don't know what that meant.
Dude, we can film the movie Meatballs there.
We could redo Meatballs.
We can redo Meatballs.
A parody.
That's what Masonry needs today. You ask brothers how they want to learn. You just remake meatballs and all falls in line.
But that's kind of true though, because the videos of remaking stuff.
I never heard anybody say, "Yeah, let's redo meatballs."
No, but I'm saying like being present on social media. That's exactly how I found this dude for the first time. Was on social media. I get done from the reunion.
I don't even know this story. That's how you found him?
No. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you found
J-Merk.
Westside.
I'm on Instagram after one of the reunions, and
But
I'm
you
like,
don't have social media.
well, I was looking at an Instagram account on social media, and I seen somebody post something up from the Scottish Rite, and I'm like, oh, that's the Valley of Chicago. And I click on it, and I'm like, hey, how cool is that, man? The only person that posted that day from Instagram from our Valley reunion was right here. The only person that posted something out of everybody who came through the Scottish Rite who was there, only one person posted something in hashtag Valley of Chicago. And I thought, whoa, that's awesome. And then now look, this is what? That was years ago.
Yeah,
almost 2 years ago.
And the Grand Lodge of Illinois kind of took that, and they had this thing called Masonic Membership Champions.
Yep,
Spooner was
absolutely.
doing. And he was telling me about it, and Grand Lodge kind of noticed, and it's really cool to get the support from Grand Lodge of Illinois, because they really see and they value the younger brothers who are really taking pride in putting the visibility out there.
Absolutely.
I will say this. I think I've been a Mason 8 years now. I'm not really sure. 7, I don't know. But our Grand Lodge, from the moment I've joined to right now, has jumped like 20 years to the future from the moment I arrived. And I believe there was this gentleman who was a beautiful man named Terry Stewart, was Grand Master then, and he was great, but the whole fraternity was somewhere else, mentally at the time. And how quick we got to where we are now to have the Masonic Visibility Day, to actually to the point where they're talking about, like, you have to hashtag, you have to do this. These are the ones we're officially using to communicate. It's been such a cool experience. And then you started that. Mikey Savoya from our lodge started. There's a lot of dudes out there who are really grinding before the Grand Lodge really put that out there to make this what it was and actually do that visibility.
And they recognize it, and that's really a great thing.
It's awesome. It's amazing.
And there's also another organization I like to talk about too. They just had their 88th anniversary. It'll be this year. The Grand College of Rites. I'm also a member. When I paid my dues, they sent me a letter in the mail saying that they want brethren to talk about it and get the awareness out there. So if you go to grandcollegeofrites.org, check out their website. Any Master Mason can join. It's basically, they're from the 30s. It's basically a regular Masonic organization, and it's meant for like literary. Basically, they have all the rituals from different Masonic orders of the past, ones that are defunct now. Some might be considered clandestine these days, but Masonic orders that are no longer working degrees, they pretty much like, hey,
they group them up.
Give me all your degrees, and you can't practice these again.
Well, we're gonna don't mean to cut you guys off, but we got to take a break. Our cameras are gonna shut off in a couple minutes, but
let's bring it back on.
We'll hold that thought. Yeah. We'll get a couple drinks, and then we'll be right back. And we're back. When we left you, we were talking about the College of Rites. And there's a couple of rites out there that some people I know I've heard of, may have heard of, but I don't know if you can elaborate on it. And I know you mentioned it, but the Order of Memphis, is that it?
Yeah, there's the Rite of Memphis.
Or the Rite of Memphis.
Yeah, there's the Rite of Memphis. There's so many. I mean,
but this is like one
that's
a
one
very
I hear.
one.
I hear that a lot.
For
that
people that aren't in these type of groups and don't have access to this great literature that thank you for sharing with us today. I've heard of the Rite of Memphis. See, this is one that people talk about a lot.
It's the high degrees. This is when you get into that 96 degrees, when you get into those high crazy degrees.
Vampire degrees.
Exactly.
But we don't count those.
They aren't.
If you get it, it's like going to see, a Scrooge play.
Well, that's why these degrees have been rounded up and corralled into this program.
Right.
That's exactly what is preventing this from
happening. And in order to access the rituals, you have to be a member, and then they give you like a mail order catalog, and you order each one. I mean, it's not cheap.
Ooh, mail order. That sounds interesting.
But it's definitely well worth it because there's so much beautiful prose and poetry, and some of the rituals is so beautiful, and even the charges, they're very deep and philosophical, and they talk about brotherhood, and Sometimes they're a little esoteric. Maybe these rituals are defunct for a reason. Maybe they're a little bit too spiritual or too esoteric or too Catholic or whatever the case is.
Yeah, because everyone's got to get home and watch TV.
Right, exactly. But they're very beautiful rituals. Now, to my knowledge, Memphis is also associated with another organization called Mizraim. Yeah. So, and then at one point they kind of merged those. So there's Rite of Memphis, there's Rite of Mizraim, and then there's Rite of Memphis, Mizraim.
Yeah, I think I came across that on the website that you provided.
Yeah, and to my knowledge, I
College
believe it's a co-ed too. They have women as well.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. When we got the link for that, and I started reading. Man, my head was about to explode. There was just so much to read, and I didn't even get into the book stuff or anything. It was just the history of all this, and I was just like, wow. But I had no knowledge of this.
Well, I think Albert Pike surmised that there's over 800 degrees at one point. So when we were regularizing or being regular, we had to get rid of. We had to cut the fat. So
they weren't as a conspiracy theory. 360 trying to get you all the way around. They were just trying to spin you around as much as they freaking could.
Well, keep in mind, a lot of these are regional, jurisdictional, based on a certain time, based on a trend in society.
Right.
But let me ask, as a Mason, when you hear that there's a degree out there you don't have, it doesn't matter if it's counted or
they're Pokemon, bro. You gotta catch them all.
Yeah, you gotta catch them all.
It's like a play you want to see. That's something I haven't seen. Dickens came out with a new play.
Yeah, I mean, they mean something, but they don't, because honestly, the highest degree is 3rd degree. Master Mason. That's the highest degree you'll ever get, and I don't care about the number. That's as high as you're gonna go.
Everything else is bonus.
Yeah, just bonus icing. But
it's good icing.
It is. It is. I'm not dissing it. I'm just saying it's just to kind of put that out there, because everyone's like, oh, you're not a 9,000th degree Mason, so you don't know nothing. It doesn't mean nothing. It's
more like a lateral
9,000th degree.
I know, right? Yeah.
Well, I had a conversation. That's the beautiful thing about Masonry too. You just have these connections with people that you might not even know them that well, but you could just meet a brother and just have this instant camaraderie. And even there's the strong connection to people of the past, historical figures you've never met, because obviously they've been dead for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like you see a documentary or you see a biopic or something like that, and it's like, oh, I connect with that brother. We went through the same thing. It's kind of weird,
It is weird to think about.
Yeah. And so I was at the barber shop, and then Brother Chad Lasik walked in, and then if you don't know Brother Chad, he's a very active Scottish Rite Mason at the Valley of Chicago.
Hey, just not throw it out there, but Chad came to the tarot night.
Well, so I'm just sitting down, and then he walks in, and then I'm like, "Hey, Brother Chad," and then we started talking for 20 minutes about Freemasonry and how it was back in the day, and he brought it to my attention of something called a Lake of Lamb Mason, where basically
did you say lake or leg?
Leg of yes.
Okay, all right.
Like the food, so because basically brethren from other jurisdictions will get a patent or charter to work certain degrees, certain bodies of Masonry, and they will literally come to your town in a caravan for one night or a weekend and put on these degrees for an exuberant amount of money, and then they're gone. Yeah, and you pretty much paid for their meal and their room and board for that.
You showed them a good time.
So basically, brethren,
you get the cloud of this little certificate that says you are now illustriously something,
and you one up whoever had a lesser degree. It's like, I got this degree.
It's like a production that came in town, like I said, like a play. They stopped in, they did things,
and then they left.
As a Mason, it's a degree, but it's a play as well. Yeah. However you want to put it, but there's no degree higher, but there's something I haven't seen as a Mason. I want to see it.
Yeah, and the symbolism, the lessons and all that stuff. And there's cool things that you can take out of these degrees or whatever, and then reflect that back onto other degrees, or to share that information, throughout everybody.
And we'll get to a segue here, because when I went through the Royal Arch degrees, I had an affinity for it because, it reminded me of my art as a musician, and we could talk about that later. But basically, I felt so I felt a relation to that because in that degree, I don't want to give away the secrets, obviously, but there's a little portion where they talk about the stone that was refused, the work that was refused, and rejected, and then finally they came to a consensus like, whoa, we need this. This is an important piece. And I've read articles about York Rite being that link from New Testament to Old Testament. It makes sense.
Oh yeah, no, it does. It
especially
really
when
does.
they drop that word on you at the end.
Oh yeah,
in Chaldean.
Yeah.
It's pretty heavy.
That little bit of ritual really speaks to so many different parts of life.
Right.
And even if you want to take the spiritual end of the way, just as man, we've all been through paths of our lives where we feel every door is closed onto us. We're all rejected work to that moment where we get a chance to flourish in society.
Right.
There is so much beautiful stuff laid out there. And the reason people will always be drawn to things like the College of Rites, all the extra bodies and this and that, is because we're always seeking that deeper meaning, to go places, to feel things, to kind of get that experience. The coolest, when you're sitting in a ritual, you're going through a ritual, usually I'll go through it and I'm kind of half out of it because it's so overwhelming.
Right.
I really don't take it until I sit on the sidelines or do it myself.
It's like drinking out of a fire hose.
Yeah, when you
a little bit.
when you go through it, I mean, it's awe-inspiring. You're in awe of everything that's happening. But until you actually are either involved in doing the work or you're on the sideline watching, like that's when you get like it just poured on you,
And that moment though, when something you've never picked up on just like hits you, and you're like, oh, no way.
Yeah,
because as an artist, it's hard. Sometimes there's a lot of doors slammed in your face and rejections and things change, plans fall through. There's a lot of things like that, and that degree like really resonated with me. And also on the Scottish Rite too. Brock mentioned he saw me on stage do a degree like that. Also was crazy because it's like I walk in the Scottish Rite and then before you know it, lights, camera, action. I'm on stage in front of all these brothers. And I'm doing a piece of ritual as King Solomon, like main character, and that also the Scottish Rite also adds this intrinsic value where it's like now you have to step up to the plate. Like here's your chance to show who you are. Here's your chance to make a contribution to our work. People. Right, and it's just that Freemasonry, man. It just it adds so much and it enhances so many things of my personal life. It does sound cliche. And it is so like cringeworthy to say it, but it has made me a better man. Yeah. Because I hear that so many times that it becomes cliche.
It does, but it's not false.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It seems like that when you tell somebody that, but like all of us can, we can all say yes, that's made us better. Yeah. But one of my friends that's not a Mason, I even described to him about Freemasonry, and I use that exact same line. And I was like, oh, it makes you better, and he's like, oh, yeah. He's like, I knew you before you were a Mason. I knew you when you were a Mason. He's like, I would say that you were pretty much the same person. And I was like, no, there's a side of me that you don't see. The side of me that's standing up and doing public information. There's parts of me that are doing ritual. There's things that you've never seen me do that I do that I never did before I went to this lodge that have changed me, dude. Like
the better is part of that personal journey because everyone can be better in different ways. There's people I know that have joined Masonry and that through ritual and meeting people and having to speak in lodge or being on committees were able to find their voice in a public venue, which is something a lot of people struggle with, which, our fraternity and Toastmasters and a lot of other groups that are, for sake of argument, really do help people break out of some of those shells. So there's a lot, the spectrum of better is wide ranging.
Yeah. And, I've met brothers that I've never met before, and some even in the music business. Like when I met Apathy.
How was that?
He's cool brother. Him and his road manager, Enemy the Illest. They were so accommodating to me. They were like, "Hey man, we're gonna have you come in first, and there's gonna be a line out there. Don't say anything to no one. You get special privileges." And like it was just so cool, man. And just having that connection with that person, I had never met him before prior to that. Never really talked to him, but the connection there. Also, brother, the film director Johnny Royal out in California.
Absolutely.
When he did that screening,
the Freemason,
right?
Or the
Freemason we run,
yeah.
That was in Chicago.
33 and Beyond.
Yeah. Okay. I've never met that brother before, but I had just got my third degree, and like we talked about it, and like we just had like this bond. And it was like I never met them before, and it was really cool to see young brethren in different places that like have the same mindset and same ideals, and they want to take the fraternity in the same direction. And it's really cool to have that synergy going on.
And there's a ton of that.
Yeah.
Right. I see it. Yeah,
And we've talked about that in like our Golden Age of Podcast episode, where we are one of the many groups doing something similar to what we're doing right now, but we all emerged not conscious of each other all at the same time with a very similar mission. And that is kind of part of the energy that's traveling through all of us and where this fraternity is going right now.
And there's a lot of young energy coming in. Like young bloods coming into the lodge.
Especially here in Illinois, man.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
And that's a
we're
good
not
thing.
the only
We
one.
need
We're not the
younger
only
guys.
one.
We do. We need that breath of to. I don't want to say we vitalize us. We're here. We're strong. We are, but but we need that fresh idea. We need new ideas.
like we were talking, it re-sparks the spark, man.
Yeah.
Grand College of Rites, a perfect organization that re-sparks you. If you want to learn about different rituals and different forms of Masonry, some that are a little bit more esoteric, like in that German esoteric Masonry book, the Bricolage.
Did you say the broccolage?
Bricolage. It's basically like a...
It's one of my mini books that I've
the
written,
ritual was like split up into different formats, and then they, Brother Arturo de Hoyos has to like piece different parts together from different sources and create the monitor or whatever. So it is interesting to see, the different words. Like for instance, in the Scottish Rite, that lost word in the Rose Croix degrees, they have more onto that top of ours. So it's interesting to see, there's more lost words and things like that.
Huh.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It opens up your Masonic doors to different forms.
Well, just briefly kind of talking about it, John Yorker, however you want to say it, I know that I've done a lot of study on some of his stuff through the Rites of Memphis and all that stuff, and I know that he has like small connections to OTO and a lot of those old Golden Dawn Society, like that old, 1900s revival of the magical era. Like he was a big founder in that, and somebody who is very connected to like mainstream Freemasonry, and then really went into that esoteric circles to give people some knowledge and have other students and other people that he practiced with. So I know there was a couple other people that you said that were in this that you also really thought were really cool too, that have pumped out some of these degrees that have retired into this.
Yeah, I mean that brother Martin Starr, he's really, really good. Arturo de Hoyos is really good at the literature he compiles. I mean, like there's even like a Rosicrucian order within the Freemasonry.
Absolutely.
You got other splinter organizations like JMerk, Builders of the Addendum. Paul Foster Case, who was a Mason,
which is awesome.
Yeah, you got OTO, Golden Dawn. And David Griffin is a cool guy. Like I have him on Facebook. Like I check out his content every once in a while. And, I agree with about maybe like 75, 80% of it. But like, I really even like that because he's touching on a lot of really important things. And even Rosicrucians, like I've been like building with those guys and just reading about some of that stuff. And it is really interesting. And there is some sort of resemblance in those Rose Croix degrees of, where did this come from? Is that Rosicrucian or what is that? I mean, obviously there's no historical connection if you read the books about where the ritual came from, but I would like to think that there is some sort of Rosicrucian or Martinism influence.
Just kind of we were talking a couple seconds ago, sometimes energy moves in the same direction. No one knows why.
Right.
Yeah.
And, we had these people over here, these people over here, these people over here. But at the end of the day, they were all doing a similar version of it, not really communicating with each other. Right. And then when you get into that, that's when you kind of get into the whole cosmic vibe and the greater plan and all that. Yeah.
And sometimes with lineage, too, you'll have one founder who's like, oh, I went to Paris and I was initiated in this order and I learned these secrets. And they come back and nobody's doing that here. No. And, they're trying to be like, well, hey, a couple guys took me in and they taught me this. And then, they want to teach people that and that stuff kind of spreads. So,
and you see a lot of that alleged in our three main symbolic craft degrees, like Pythagoras and all the weird things he went through in the different priesthoods. Yeah. It's laid out in our own work that there was a lot of other work.
Order from Jesus Christ, things like that. It's a holy priesthood. And ironically enough, Jesus wasn't even the highest member of that order. There was people above him in that order. So it's very interesting when you read about the historical connections. And in New York, right, they take excerpts from the Bible. Or the Old Testament, which really is like, whoa, like, did they write that about Masonry? It's like, whoa. It's pretty cool, man. You see
I mean, if
the
it makes you
connection.
think that and on some old text like that, that's pretty
It
cool.
fits a little too well.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
You're like, it might not have been called Masonry then,
Right.
but it existed.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I just read something that King James VI, the first of England, was a Mason. I don't know if it's true or not, but that since he was a Mason, he knew other Masons, and I can't remember their names right now. I just got done reading it, and they actually were some of the scholars in the King James version of the Bible. So there's a theory out there that Masons actually did have their hands in the King James version of the Bible and made it fit that way.
See, I
don't know.
I
if
wouldn't
it's true,
doubt
but
that at all. And the only reason I'll tell you I wouldn't doubt that is you're talking about back then. The whole concept of regular and jurisdictions in Masonry, that actually is very new.
Yeah.
If you look historically, there was a lot more splintered off side groups
Right.
that were all doing something similar. Now, so when he might not have the same tide of Masonry we do through our Grand Lodges, but he could have been sitting there with those forward thinkers, those people that were taking what was new, what was old, figuring out what worked, what didn't work, pontificating on that,
Is
and
that the book you
representing
just
it.
gave me? That
No,
you,
no, this is a
Oh,
different
I was
book.
gonna say because
So-
like Elias Ashmold and stuff like that. You know, you start getting into those people in the late 1500s, early 1600s and stuff, and you're like, well, that's before 1717. You know, like
Well, what you start with, the first thing you've done, the Reapers Poem, that's 1300s.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
that was the first thing we
that's in
know
that book
of.
too. Yeah.
And that was way too long for just to be one new thing they just pulled
Right.
out.
Yeah.
That was patched together from something
Yeah,
else.
a collective of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of something out of maybe Royal Order of Scotland or something like that.
I can see that.
The prose that it's in is it's like it rhymes, but it doesn't. You know, it's definitely interesting to see the connection. And I mean, this whole thing has been a crazy journey. Just the type of people you meet, and you don't know where it is. I mean, you really. Every person has a different journey in this.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really gauge, where someone will end up.
Well, I mean, I think this is our 22nd episode, perhaps.
Wow.
And a lot of times that
20-something.
fifth chair is filled, and
23rd,
everyone,
23rd.
everyone that's filled it has been very different. I mean, and technically, you are the second rapper we've had in this chair. And
Yeah, we
this-
were supposed to talk about this in the first half, but we.
I don't
We might have to
think
take an extra inning here.
Yeah, we're gonna.
have to
You know
go
what?
into
We'll
extra
take a break
innings
and
on
we're
this.
gonna come back with his music while
Talk
we,
some music and culture.
break and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. And we're back. When we left, we talking about music. Well, we started to talk about music. Our guest on here, J-Merk, as you should know him, has a. This is your new album,
Yeah,
correct?
it just came out a few months ago.
Oh.
Maybe like a month and a half.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
plug it.
Oh, wow. Okay. Plug it, man.
New album, Destroy Your Idols. It's a project that's been going on for the past 5 years. I started it in 2015,
Wow.
and then we put the finishing touches on a few songs, mixing and mastering wise, late 2018. So it was about 5 years on and off.
Okay.
It's just that it had more songs originally, actually, but I felt that they were a little bit too controversial, so I decided to scale it back. And I'm like, if I take out a few of these songs, it'll make more of a cohesive project, something that's a little bit more
If it don't fit, it don't fit.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have fit musically, but I didn't want to offend anybody with this. I really wanted this for a little bit for everybody.
Okay.
It's rap music, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
what are you worried about?
I'm very particular on how I create my legacy. I want to leave behind. I'm very particular. I'm a man of I like to be classy.
Yeah, you're a good lyricist.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
There's
So,
a lot of good
like,
music in there.
What are your who inspired you to become? I know it's your own artistic path. What rappers do you look up to, or for the people at home, who would you maybe even compare yourself to?
Honestly, how I came up to it was people locally that I knew. Those are my influence. I couldn't care less about what these people were doing, what they're doing. The people in my own backyard were just killing shit. To be honest with you, they're just really dope at what they did. And I just learned from them. Local cats. Chicago hip hop scene. Those were the guys that really made me want to just go hard with it. And how I got into it was, I actually never told this thing. So this is actually the first.
Oh, exclusive.
Okay,
Oh,
exclusive.
This is the first interview.
my
We got
life-
like the hard copy.
Like, my life has been a crazy, weird journey where, like, I'll stumble upon something and then I'll end up meeting certain people that, like, just randomly pop into your life for, like, a split moment. But that brief moment has such a major impact on you that you never forget.
Almost like it was a predetermined crossroad.
Yeah, no, it really was like that. Like, it's sort of like destiny and manifesting itself. Yeah. And how it started was, like, I've been writing, like, lyrics since I was 12, 13, something like that, like 2001, 2000, early 2000s.
This isn't your first album either.
No, it's not. But every album I do, I want to make sure it is like I put so much time in how I crafted it. I want the shit to be like pyramids or something like that, man. But so basically, where I decided to like level up was I met a poet from Chicago. It was world renowned. He was on. You remember back in the day, HBO did those poetry slams and things like that.
Okay, yeah, I do.
Was that called slam poetry?
I'm dating myself a little bit, but yeah, I remember that. This guy was on there all the time, and I met this guy.
Those were intense.
Yeah, his name's Kevin Cavall. Shout out Kevin Cavall. I haven't talked to you in like years, but he probably doesn't even remember me.
He's not watching us anyways.
Yeah.
If he was, though, he's like, whoa!
I mean, we're friends on Facebook, so maybe he might see it. I don't know, but yo, shout out Kevin. This guy opened my senses to the scene of what was going on, like musically in my hometown. And this guy was a poet, and he had like a workshop that I attended about poetry. And like he would take like excerpts of like people's lyrics and then like break it down, like what it means, like the metaphors, the similes, just the poetry, like breaking every aspect of it down. And that's when I was really like, oh shit, there's something more to this, And that's when I delved deeper into that and lyrics and crafting, just like poetry basically. And that was something that I had to like, rewire my brain to do because that entailed me having to listen to more and study more and I could do more reading and research into it all. And it takes really a long time. I think they say like it's either like 10,000 hours or something to master your craft or whatever it is. But I definitely put in my 10. And every album I do, I think I progressively get a little bit better. So with this new project, it's really special to me because it's a concept that I've had for a while. I'm an information junkie, if you don't know. Like, I'm up on a lot of shit. And, sometimes it's useless information that I may forget. Sometimes it's, like, really important factoids or weird bits of information. I'm just an information junkie. Man.
Like, you said, like, useless information.
Dolphins sleep with one eye open.
I've actually.
Okay, I've
actually heard that. I'm sorry, but yes. Okay. Yeah, that's. Why would you need to know that? Yeah. You're right.
I just do. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But
well, I guess if you knew sharks were swimming around you too, you'd sleep with one eye open.
Right.
That's true.
Exactly. It's just like little bits of information. It's just I'm just an information junkie. So when you take in all this information, and keep in mind nowadays, certain websites, apps, podcasts, video casts, all these things are fighting for our attention on a daily basis, constantly.
Yeah.
I even have my own little side podcast, and I was talking about it the other day because I have Anchor, so I just pull it up on my phone.
It's still on. Plug it.
It's called Okay, Let's Talk. So if you go to the Apple, the iTunes, or Anchor, just hit Okay, Let's Talk, and I have some stuff on there. But this is like some side project.
Put a link in.
Yeah, I'll send you guys some links and
put
stuff.
something up in the description.
But the thing is that the more you dive into the information, go deeper down the rabbit hole, peel back the onions, you start to kind of see trends, and you can kind of get a gauge of where things are heading. And you don't have to be Nostradamus to figure out that we're heading down a very, very strange path of different things going on, and psychological warfare and manipulation, and people's consciousness being manipulated, like crazy shit going on, right? So I was like, man, you know what's going to happen? Like, it just came to me, like, you know what? I think a lot of people that are in the public, like certain celebrities, certain politicians, public figures, I had a vision that all these people would get involved in scandals and things like that. And this is before all that shit happened, Me Too movement, all that. It just came to me in a vision. I don't know if I was like on mescaline or mushrooms. I don't know what. I don't know what it was.
Mescaline.
I don't know what it was.
Some party favors.
But the thing is, I don't condone drug use, but
Yeah, neither do I. I'm not using drugs. They're using me.
Yeah.
but I had a vision for all that, and Destroy Your Idols was a fitting concept because that's something that happened. I mean, think of all the famous celebrities.
They're taking them from us one by
Yeah,
one.
like
right.
there's a lot of people who are just like, we're like here.
As soon as you can put them on the pedestal, it crumbles.
Right.
Yep.
And it wasn't hard to see that was going to happen as a trend. So
I'm really hoping to have a license plate by Felicity Jones. That's all.
so like Destroy Your Idols, the concept behind it is like it's so technocratic. Like it's not just like a person per se that's like a figurehead for evil, or like Adolf Hitler was. You know how we don't have a face to evil anymore. It's kind of like it's subversive.
Multiple.
Things are very subversive and it's very polarized.
We have a lot of gray now, and everyone's just standing around hoping they don't see their gray. That's how I kind of
we people always have to like put their finger on the one thing that screwed everything up. But is it really one thing? Isn't it just because of that one thing, multiple things have happened?
Exactly.
It's rarely one thing. Reality is subjective.
Right.
All five of us have our own particular reality we happen to live in.
Right. So what I wanted to get across with this album was we're about to be plugged in like the Matrix, and that is the idol that's going to take us all down, is when we are all interconnected into this, when they put our consciousness into a server and we live out this this reality where we're avatars and it's augmented. That's what's going to happen.
So
Do you have a time frame on that?
In all honesty, scientists only give the planet like another 20, 30 years, something like that. So I highly doubt.
So that book I read at Chicago University, when the sun would die out in like 3,000 or you hear 30,000 or something like that, it's a bunch of crap.
Okay. So here's the thing I read today, and I hate to kind of throw this out here, but this also goes to Destroy Your Idols. And I don't like to broach on this because it sounds like I'm taking a subject on something. But in Glacier National Park in Montana, the place was littered with signs saying, enjoy these glaciers now because they're going to be gone by 2020. This week, the government actually started a program of replacing all the signs because the glaciers are actually bigger than ever. And it's one of those things, though, where we're going to be gone in 20 years, we're going to be this and that. Since this dawn of Earth, since someone could take chalk and rub on a wall, we've always thought we were going to die.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they're
for
freaking
sure.
Nostradamus and knows what the end's going to come from and how it's going to happen and stuff.
Who was the blind chick mystic, Baba Yana?
Oh, you mean Baba Yaga?
Helen Blavatsky?
Yeah, Baba Yaga.
Yeah, Baba Yaga, Russian.
Yeah.
The Russian.
The only interesting one that really came out of that was the two towers of something are going to get hit with steel birds, and then was like, ah!
Yeah, that was
spooky.
weird.
Well,
Didn't that happen in Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of hearken it to when the new 20s came out and people were folding them and you saw the Twin Towers come down.
Oh God!
And then it happened. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I don't know if it's predictive programming, but you know how you'll see a sci-fi movie and then that shit comes true a few years later.
The Simpsons.
Yeah, exactly.
I can tell you, the people that make the money, they really do care about origami.
I think we tend to
Really, real.
repeat ourselves without realizing it. I mean,
things go in circles.
I don't know, and I've never heard anything of Pink Floyd The Wall, them writing it for Wizard of Oz or Alice in Wonderland. But it does go with it.
Well, that's energy.
Somehow,
that's a rhythm.
but somehow we end up repeating ourselves. History repeats
This is
itself.
the dawn of time.
We do it all the time, unconsciously, consciously. It's very, very odd that we end up repeating ourselves that much to where songs and things can link up like that.
Well, dude, everything comes back. I mean, everything comes back into style. I mean, come on, how many times has Bell Bombs come back already? You know,
I'm waiting. I got mine at home.
You know, I'm just saying. It's just things repeat. You know, genres repeat. You know, different music, different art. You know, it comes back. You know, they'll say it's new wave, or they'll say it's
the new wave is real.
But no, it's
hit the new wave
it's
with a new
chic,
color
or all the weird artsy fartsy words, and it's just rehashed.
Well, like you mentioned something earlier about being
Yes.
plugged into the matrix or something, and there is a real theory out there that
Simulation.
we are in a matrix and stuff like that.
Elon Musk said we were.
I don't know.
Well, he did say that. I don't know
Yeah,
how
he
the
did say
validity
that.
of it, but
I don't know how it could be true, but just because I don't know doesn't mean it's not a possibility.
that's actually
but
a bold thing you just said. Just because I don't personally know it doesn't mean it not to be true.
well, I have
That's
always
something
thought-
we should all adopt.
I've always thought that because I mean, how many times have you been able to do something and then you show somebody else exactly how to do it the same way as I did, and you'll be able to succeed and do this, and then they just can't do it. They just have, I don't want to say different realities, but things don't always work out. But just because it didn't work out for you and it worked out for someone else doesn't mean that you can't learn from that. And just because you weren't able to do it doesn't mean it's not a reality.
Yeah.
I just like to point out this whole thing started because we were mentioning this dude's amazing new album called Destroy Your Idols. And where can you buy this right now?
Bandcamp.com. So if you just search capital J hyphen capital MERK, it should pop up. Destroy Your Idols. It's also on iTunes.
Well, yeah, we'll
Hold
put
on,
the link in.
I feel like- I
I'm
feel
trying
like
to
I
put
need
the
to
link in
hold
the
this
bottom.
Well, we'll put
We'll put the link in the bottom.
we'll put this up, and hopefully at the end of the episode we can have a trailer or something of one of your songs on this.
Yeah, dude, this is going to be the official at Refreshment crew is going to be jamming these next few weeks. We're all
I've
really
been jamming
excited.
it for a couple weeks, man. And not only that, you got a couple albums and you do these cool limited edition color pressed vinyl and stuff. I'm like,
shout out
man.
Postpartum, man. Really shout out Postpartum, man. When I signed with them in 2018, they really went above and beyond to meet my vision. And it is
awesome.
strange because like I meet all these crazy artists, and even on that album, I have I got Frank Sinatra on there. I got DJ Lethal from House of Pain and Limp Bizkit. I got just like random artists on there. And like I've had so much dialogue with these artists, and we all have a commonality where we see the world from a weird lens where we're always objective. It's always objective, and we're always questioning things and what is really this, and digging down a rabbit hole. And the music it has like a lot of Easter eggs and deeper meanings. It's going to take like numerous listens to like really catch everything.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of how I intended to do it, and that's just how I was brought up. A lot of the local talent were like really just had really complex lyrics and things that you had to like just digest.
Well, you were kind of telling me earlier too, also about like when you were really young, about how your dad and stuff, and how you've always had these other hobbies too. If you want to talk about the autographs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm a big collector. I collect really random weird things, from movies, books, music, toys to autographs is a big hobby of mine too. Like I meet a lot of celebrities. It's just weird. I just randomly meet people, and like we just build this rapport, and like they sign stuff for me.
Well, we're not celebrities, don't we?
Yeah. Well, dude, I seen you shout out with your Adam 22, man. I've had Mike Kadama on this table multiple times on these shows, man, and nobody might know that, but
he didn't have one when I met him. But like just so many different people, and it's weird because I'm kind of like a shy guy. Like I'm not the guy to get on the camera and spit my music, my bars, my hot fire. Like that's not me. I just rather like hit the studio and just like create a classic album and then put it out. I do have a new video coming out soon with my homie Qua, Ambitious. That's coming out soon. It's called Ghost in the Shell. Be on the lookout for that. We're just two anime nerds. Yeah. Shout out to anime. That's a big hobby of mine too. Freemasonry, autograph collecting. That started off with my dad. Shout out to my dad. My dad brought me in he was in the hotel industry my whole life, and so many people stay at the hotel, from pro wrestling stars to musicians to athletes, politicians. So my dad was always bringing home things signed to justice, and it's just like that's what kickstarted me from the hobby, and then also going to these auto shows in McCormick and things like that. There's signings and like. So like I was just a little kid and I already had a collection already, and it's something that always stuck. But like I just started picking up the hobby probably like 5-6 years ago again, just because I started to see that like I missed the earlier pieces that I had and lost as a kid. So I kind of just want to like rebuild again.
And it's fun, dude. The culture, going to those places. Like I seen you at the complex music thing and all these different things. Like when there's cool stuff like that, and you're out there and it's kind of one of the things that we're talking about not just showing, Freemasonry actively online, but going to things like this and going and being part of these communities in the city. you're kind of showing that light a little deeper.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Really expanding it.
And the crazy thing is, like, a lot of these like celebrities or whatever you want to call them, they're really interested in my product.
Oh yeah.
Like they want to help me like promote it, shout it out on their vlog or whatever the case is. And it's one of those things where like Freemasonry is not for everybody. My music isn't for everybody. Like there's sort of like an intellectual prowess like you have to have in order to understand some of the things I'm saying. Like, maybe I see a line about like an obscure anime reference or a movie or a book or whatever. And it's like, it's an Easter egg where if you read that book or seen that movie or seen that little clip, you know what I'm talking about. And a lot of the stuff misses people, but these guys get it. These people get it. And they're like, whoa, this kid's onto something. But I'm just a shy guy. I'm not the guy to get on the camera and do all that. I just let the work speak for myself, and
so we're gonna have to black your eyes out this whole episode.
No, you don't have to black it out.
I was like, who's gonna break it to him that we record this show?
And like, and I just want to shout out all the fans and supporters who've bought my stuff, paid hard-earned money for it. Like the numbers don't lie. Like I'm shipping albums out to like the four corners of the world, and it's like, how did you even hear about me? Do you even speak English? Like how are you?
Man, it's the internet.
Where did I say? Like I know, like there was like one person in Sri Lanka or something. Yeah, where it was. It was very odd. It was listening to our show, and so that's
if people.
It's weird.
If people aren't liking or commenting, it doesn't mean that they're not watching. People are definitely listening. They're definitely watching. So I want to make sure that the content I give is very classy. It's deep, it's profound, and something that's it's gonna last a while. It's not something that's disposable like a fucking McChicken. This is like a fucking, 3-course meal with all the fixings, like everything, cranberry sauce and
the stuffing,
all that stuff, and you got the green bean casserole, and you got all that, big giant turkey, dumbass turkey, like
dumbass turkey,
dumb young turkey.
Is that a Martha Stewart recipe?
No, but shout out to Martha Stewart though. Like, she's a G. Like,
way to bounce back.
She bounced back. She had a comeback.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Yeah. She did have a comeback.
And shout out to Paula Dean.
I was about to say,
bounce back.
She bounced back.
Did she?
She bounced back.
Where's she
She's trying, man.
Yeah, she's trying.
She's cooking somewhere.
I was working with an African American woman, an older woman,
cooking at
and
KFC.
she's like, "Oh, I cook all these Paula Dean recipes off her website." And I'm like, "How do you even support this woman? Didn't you hear what she said?" And she's like, "Oh, that old Southern white lady, she don't mean nothing by it."
It's kind of a weird thing to say. The only people that got mad at Paula Dean were stupid white people.
It's true.
Well, because people see it and they're like, "Oh, Paula."
Right. It's like,
I don't know, man.
All I'm gonna say is I enjoyed her buffet.
Yeah, and Jolie actually had to take it away.
Yeah, till they had to take it away.
Paula Dean said
I
no
like
words.
Old Country Buffet.
I like Cracker Barrel.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I love Cracker Barrel.
I keep it old school.
I do not
Cracker
care.
Barrel's dope. Honestly,
I do not
the
care
moment in
what
my
they say.
life I know I'm successful is when I buy all my clothing and home furnishings from their gift shop. The minute I can do that, I know I've made it.
Yeah, it's not cheap, man.
Yeah, that's funny, dude.
Yeah,
Man, the chicken and dumplings and all that stuff.
I like that cheesy potato casserole. That's my scene.
Yeah.
And with that said,
We're going through the rest of the menu, right?
No.
usually.
Oh, it's that time again. Okay. Shout out.
Shout out.
Do we have a shout out at our shouts out?
Well, I believe we should offer a shout out to our guest first and foremost.
Sure. Oh, thank you.
Do you have a shout out you'd like to give to anybody?
Yeah. Also, I would like to shout out, all of the Masonic bodies I'm in. Barrington Lodge, Geneva York Rite, Scottish Rite Valley of Chicago, Grand College of Rites, the whole lot. And without you brothers, without your mentorship, without the dialogue, I would have a different perspective than what I do now. And I appreciate you brothers for adding some depth to my personality.
That's going to be hard to get
That's
on
good.
our meme.
Yep.
That's gonna be hard to get on that, but it'll be all right.
Cheers, everyone. Cheers.
Oh,
Wow. Right on the computer. That's good luck.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
Excellent. All right, with that ends our episode. We're getting out of here. We'll be back with more later on. I was looking at the wrong camera. Sorry about that. Obviously, you shouldn't be drinking. Everyone have a good night.
Am I dead or alive? Hear the voice of my mind. I'm living to die. It's my choice this time. Yeah. To take back what's mine. Am I dead or alive? Hear the voice in my mind. It's my choice this time. And take back what's mine. I must break the ties and restart my life. I must break the ties and restart my life. I'm a ghost in the shell, just a ghost of myself. We eat good, then we toast for our health. Every move that I make in stealth, every tool I use to better myself. Used to be rough, perfected a stone. I am the son of a G from the go. I carry that sword in me like Ichigo. Roll up the backwood and light up the dro. I hit the wood like Ichiro though. My spiritual pressure straight from the dome. I give it my all, gave it my last. I'm feeling like BJ Penn with this pad, writing an epitaph like a psycho. Myers, Michael, they say I got one shot. I load up the Glock like Saito. I'm in love with the cocoa. Need a bad bitch on my side like Motoko. And Manolo's too cool for the photos. I take photons and absorb those. My energy orb grows. I might self-destruct and explode on you broke hoes.